Hello, I'm Joms. I'm here to talk about my Aurora deck and why I think she's severely underrated and a good pick for the upcoming CC meta post Nationals. So first, I brought Aurora for the Philippine Nationals this 2026. I was able to finish at top 8, and despite not having the Skyward Serenades and Skizik package, I think the deck did fine. The only reason I picked this deck over Osilio is this deck actually is the technically for me the better aggro deck out of the other aggro deck. Was able to test against multiple Katsus and then some Syndras and Phis, and the deck's value is definitely better than them. Well, it's not a guarantee, but it's a high percentage. So despite the Victor not LLing this for this coming for the nationals for the last week of nationals, I think it was worth the risk, just hedging that all my matchups would be aggro and hope for the best, I guess. So yeah, this is the list I brought for nationals. This is a Cheerio based list. I am not paying for anything. Everything in my deck costs zero, like literally. So let me check my agenda first. So a quick rundown of my matchups before we go to the deck. Round one, I fought a Fi, and it was a win. Pretty much outvalued the Fi all the way. I I leaked. I'm sorry. The Fi leaked 10 points of damage or 11 while being able to set up 5 card hand, but he had to break the links in order to do so, which I guess was a win for me because I get to play the game without worrying about the links in the feature. So yeah. And then round two, I fought Akasai, which is generally an unfavored matchup for me. I was able to get it there because of the clutch lightning press that managed to get me over the top. Round 3, I fought a Vincent. Definitely a bad matchup. I didn't win this. I got severely disrupted, back to back annihilations, and couldn't find a way to win. Round 4, I fought a Jarl. I don't think there's any questions here. I would totally lose this matchup. Round 8, it was on stream. I fought a Marionette. I think I got lucky, maybe, but all I did was make sure the blocks were on point, and then the deck will do the rest. I was able to pretty much grind it down, especially because the Mario took out their arcane barrier early, which allowed me to take advantage of the arcane pings that I have. Round 9, I fought another Kasai. This time I got way lucky with a double arc lightning turn, which pretty much got me a huge lead and pretty much kept through it. The end state was 1-1, I think, but because of the space I got from leaking so much damage on the double arc lightning combo, it was pretty much a clean lead. I was able to find a clean 5 card lethal from that, from the space I mean. Round 10, my winded in, I was fighting Syndra. This is where I was gonna. This is where my theory comes to fruition that Aurora is the better aggro deck, and I, which it did. I got the win. It wasn't easy, but all I did was deny every mask trigger, made sure the Syndra was at a 4 card hand. Well, I can't. Well, I was able to maintain her 4 card hand because of a face perk, but yeah, I was able to limit her offensive power and pretty much threaten on hits with Snatch. So that's it. And then on top 8, I fought Grave Bones. Based on my testing, it was an ultimately unfavored matchup, but I guess I didn't have enough reps to justify that, hence this card here. So yeah. So looking at the deck, you can see that there is no Tempestuous Kiss. This was a unintentional deck building choice. I did not like pitching for an attack which had multiple conditions where Tempestuous Kiss needed Go Again to be able to get the ping. Although you don't really need to Go Again to disrupt them, but I think paying for the 2 costs is too costly for me, despite having the Iron Roof. So, this deck list is pretty much a standard Runeblade list, a 044 slop kinda list. The only cards that are pretty interesting here is Flying High, because I chose this over Red Quick Succession just because I don't like that I can't get the max tree value out of Quick Succession Red. Hence, I'm only on yellow because I'm pretty much always getting the max value out of the yellow color over red. And this list has pretty much a decent amount of generics like Nimby, Snatch, occasionally Scar, and Easter egg. So I could really use the +1 Go Again on them over the Quick Succession guaranteed Go Again for the next Lightning or Runeblade attack. Next, I have the Nimby package, pretty much a really cool card a really good cool package because Nimby is essentially a 1 card 6. If you can give this Go Again, you get a 3 attack with a non-attack action of +3, which is essentially 6 value. Or in an Arc Lightning turn, it's basically an 8 value card because of 3 +1 Go Again, and the ping Go Again and ping Go Again from here. And then I added the Jax just so there's payoff with my Nimblism. And I think it's pretty much a generally good card at 3 block and a 044 whenever I have a Nimblism graveyard. The spice here is the Promise of Plenty and Gravel in Runeblood. This card, I got this from Iwa. His list had Promise, and while I was testing, I figured I'd like this because I really wanted to beat the Gravy, which is basically high rolling them and hoping that the top card is an ally or riches. But even on the non-Gravy matchup, the use case of basically being a Snatch with Go Again, although it's not a breakpoint, it's already a threatening attack that demands respect from opponent, which they can also choose to not respect because they also get their own arsenal. But I think overall the payoff is worth it more than, even though it can give them for example, giving the Syndra another head job. But I think it's still fine. I guess at least for the run I did, it paid off a lot. Opponent pretty much would have to respect it, or else I'm threatening more value. Next card is Revenue Blood. This is a card I really like. I've actually noticed that Aurora plays a lot of non-attack actions in this list, so I've considered running this card because in terms of value, this is basically a 1 card 5 with an Arc Lightning turn. If not, it's just a 044 in the form of Arcane, which is basically a cool angle to get lethal, especially against red line decks, which forces them to take. This is essentially true damage for them. Everything else I put is pretty much standard. This one, I found this in the US Nationals list, and I found it to be pretty useful, pinging my opponent. It has been pretty relevant during my Nats run, and it's pretty underrated that you pushing them to a lower life just by defending, and basically I can just get the value I can still get 3 value out of this card. So it's either a 2 block and a 1 ping on defense or a 4 value offense. So pretty much a good rate. Still an on rate card. And I don't think there's anything else on the main board, but so let's move to the sideboard. I have 4 D reacts. This is thanks to Franco's advice. I asked for his advice regarding D reacts, and 4 is actually a really good number because I don't think I can actually putting 3 copies of Surgeon of Suffering makes it so sometimes they can just pay for it. So like just being a surprise one-off and making them think about it for the rest of the game is pretty much a good enough psyops for me. And then for the D-React, I prefer Shelter over Sync here because of the Syndra and Mario. I really need the flexibility to prevent. Despite, I think Sync Below would have been so much better, but it's just the flexibility that makes it good. Next, I have a Remembrance, just so I can survive the Fatigue matchup. And then I added a Potion, and just so I can have some hedge against Jarl and Victor. Although for Victor, I only run the Strength, not the Potion. I just run the Remembrance and Strength against Victor. Next, I had to tech for Gravy just so I can make the matchup good. The reason why it's a hard matchup is it's just that Gravy is a blue deck and can generally pay for all the Arcane. And then even if I can just spam the Forest, I have to commit a lot of cards just to kill allies, and overall, Gravy just needs 2 CNCs to get tempo. So this is just a way to delay their game plan and hope to brick a few of their turns. Next one is the combo package, which is the Dominion and Iron Reef. They're basically how I get 30 damage turns. So this main board is basically, if I want to go combo package, I don't usually change anything here. I just change my chest piece and head piece and look for that Arc Lightning and into the Nimby or into the Promise or anything that any of this gives is pretty much high value on a combo turn, which is what I need to make sure I can get the lead early and kill them even though they are defensive deck. Next is COP. This is basically for the CNC decks. Gravy, I need to survive the first CNCs. This is pretty much its main purpose. Vexing Cool Hand is part of my combo package, and I really like this over Grasp against Auxilio, just so I have the AB, and if I need against Auxilio, I'm generally on the combo package. I run the Dominion, Iron Reef, and Vexing, because this is pretty much the safest loadout, because it lets me race against any form of Auxilio build. And then we have Boots of Omnisword just so I can beat Syndra and Mario better. And that's pretty much it for the Nats list. It's pretty much not going to be feasible after this, after the Nats weekend, because we have Skywards unbanned and I have to pretty much re-edit the deck again. But yeah, this is how I went to top 8 nationals, and I think the list is pretty much good. I managed to dodge my bad matchups except for 2, which are my 2 losses in the event. So yeah, I think we can move on to my updated post-Nats list, which I'll show right here. So this is my list right now, post-nationals. I had to make some adjustments and did a lot of testing before recording this video. So pretty much the equipment hasn't changed. Faceberg, Dyadic, Grass, they're pretty much your ideal fridge equips. Scorpio, I don't, because I'm a redline deck, definitely Scorpio is the most practical weapon choice. I think most of the cards I chose are pretty much self-explanatory. So for this build, I'm on 3 Jackpin Nimbles, mainly because I'm now on 4 Nimblisms. I found, because of the Skyward Serenade and the Skizix, I kind of feel like the Nimblism yellow kind of matters because I tend to see my Nimblisms early before the Nimby. And so with the yellow, it's basically a card that I can get from Nimby and then pitch it to Grasp just in case I run out of the red Nimblisms early. That's pretty much its main purpose. And it's because also I don't want to go 3 copies of Revel because Revel isn't really live every time you see it. You need to have another non-attack action. So pretty much did a split of 2 Revels and 1 yellow Nimblism. Uh, and then for the Skyward Serenade and Skizik, I had to replace the Stinging Sprites for Skizik because this is just a 3 block and Skyward is basically a pretty much better flying high, I guess. It does the same thing, but it's a 0-4-6 in a way, because of Scorpio. Using Fry, this deck basically takes advantage of Fry, Lightning Surge, and Skyward Serenade into Scorpio Finisher, which means my Fry becomes a 5 value card, 3 into 1 on hit 1, and Surge is 4 into 1 on hit 1. So yeah, that's pretty much my changes. I think I had to remove my Promise of Plenty because I guess there isn't really any more reason to use it over the other cards I have in my main deck. There isn't really anything I can cut here because they're all pretty much above rate cards, while Promise is just an on rate card. For the sideboard, I removed the Pilfers because I think that the deck can win without the Pilfers. I just have to out aggro the Gravy Bones. And then I replaced it with Vaporize Shock because it's basically a slightly better tech that can pretty much surprisingly get some wins against the Vincent. I think the payoff is way better than Pilfer because Gravy is technically beatable without Pilfer, while Vincent is beatable without Vaporize Shock, but this can completely break their turn if we can get rid of their setup. My D-React package is still the same. I really like this for D-Reacts. I can't really change. And then I added 2 more Potion of Strength because Jarl is a bit rampant lately in terms of representation. So basically the sideboard is just fighting aggro with the 4D reacts, Vincent with the Vapor Shell, and then Jarl with the potions. I also put Potion of Strength if I know the deck is a fatigue, just because it's basically I have a head job on another turn. So yeah, that's pretty much my updated list. If there's any changes anyone would try is it would be Exude Confidence to be able to beat the D-React decks. I just don't bring it because I don't have space, and I think this deck is capable of beating the D-React decks either way. And then we have the Promise just in case you really like the spice of the card. And then Pilfer, well, it's just if you really can't beat the Gravy, just tech for it, I guess. The sideboard is basically just tech what you hate, and that's pretty much it. The main board doesn't change. I think this is Aurora will definitely be a good contender moving forward. There isn't really the only 2 matchups I really fear here is Vincent and Jarl. The rest of the matchups, it's pretty much the deck is completely capable of beating it. So yeah, that's it, and hope you enjoy and gained enough information on how I approach Aurora, and hope it would help you on your testing also on your Aurora. Yep, thank you.